Hello, and welcome to another Countdown to Launch. I'm Roberto. I'm your host of the show today. You can find me on YouTube and on Instagram under Sheer Boredom. And I'm helping Nalin out with some of these interviews here, and I'm excited to do this and talk to people. But it's not about me today. We're going to be talking to Jeremy Stark. He's with me today. How are you today, Jeremy?
Doing good. How you doing, Roberto?
I am well. So we're here. I mean, the show is called Countdown to Launch. What's going on your plate right now, Jeremy?
Right now, I'm just we're getting through the final stretches of doing the marketing and getting our game ready for Kickstarter. Getting to that right, basically countdown to launch, just like the title.
Yeah,
Final
yeah.
stretch.
And your game is Cutthroat Cove, Pieces of Eight.
Correct.
Will you tell us a little bit more about your game?
Yeah, sure. I do have one of our prototypes right here. It's a very tiny little box, but there you go. Hold it a little bit closer. But it's a very simple card game. We wanted to design something that was kind of quick and fun that can be played, somebody who's new to board gaming or not super interested, but also appeal to the people who like in-depth strategy and kind of bluffing and that sort of thing. So it's really a game about. Thank you for the comment. I'm sure that's one of my teammates out there in the background cheering me on.
Yeah.
But it's essentially you're playing as a pirate and you're trying to collect treasure and steal each other's treasure and end up with the correct amount to be able to win the game.
Okay. What kind of is it? Like drafting? Is it? You said bluffing, so is a little bit of take that in the game as well?
Yes, it's very much take that. I would almost say it's entirely take that mechanics. But essentially, there's two types of cards. One are your treasure cards, which are your points that determine who wins, who's winning the game, and then you have your event cards, which is how players interact with each other, like stealing other people's chests, giving them your cursed treasure, things like that. Very much take that, and being a pirate, being cutthroat.
Excellent. Little chaotic neutral, maybe chaotic bad. Who knows?
At least chaotic. I guess you can choose if you want good, evil, or neutral as your for your alignment.
What kind of player are you when you play this game?
Definitely chaotic evil. And for my friends who oh hey Devin, thanks. But for all my friends that are I've played D&D with, I always start out as like chaotic neutral, chaotic good, and by the end of the campaign, the DM's like, nah, you're chaotic evil. You're just the worst.
Murder hobo. Let's do this.
It's like if I think I can get away with something, I'll do it. It's really what it comes down to.
Excellent. In RPG, that's what it's
in
all
RPGs,
about.
Not in real life.
Yeah.
I want the record to be straight there.
That's awesome. Well, Jeremy, how did you get into game design?
I don't know if I have like a specific point in time, but I can remember even when I was a kid, the first memory I have of like game design was I was super into the Fire Emblem games, if you've played them, and they're I just remember like writing down in my notebook and like trying to come up with my own version of it, that I'm like, oh, one day I'll make this and it's going to be so much better. Yeah, no, that never happened. But I that's my earliest memory, and I can always just remember playing games with my friends, and eventually, you come to house rules. Like, how can we make this more fun? What makes it more interesting?
Yeah.
And then just eventually progressed into let's make our own game.
Cool. Actually, out of curiosity, with Cutthroat Cove, was there a natural progression of you playing a game, any certain game, really, any card game, to getting your game to be what Cutthroat Cove is?
I would say there was definitely two very heavy influences. The one was, I know it's a dice game compared to a card game, but I love Liar's Dice. And that kind of set the theme and the type of game we wanted it to be, where, it's simple, it's fast paced, but there's still a lot of in-depth strategy to it. And then the other inspiration we took a lot from was Love Letter. I've never actually played the original. I've only played the Munchkin version, Loot Letter. But that kind of, I like that kind of simplicity of mechanics, but also, the take that and the strategizing below the surface.
Awesome. What would you say right now your favorite card game would be if you could play something? That's not Cutthroat Cove. It's not.
It's not Cutthroat Cove. Um, I always love Hearts. Hearts is definitely a staple in my family. And my wife and I will play with my parents till like 1 in the morning. We'll just keep playing Hearts and just that's a lot of fun.
Nice. I would play Hearts on the PC back in the day, and I still have I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, oh, okay, the cards are moving. I'm getting points next round. Okay, cool.
But points are bad. That's the thing you got to remember. Points are bad.
All right, I have to keep that in mind for the next time I play some Hearts. I love me some Pitch. That's probably one of my favorites, and Scopa as well.
I don't know if I've played that. I first thought you said Pit.
No, Pitch. Yeah. It's a trick taking game.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm always down for a trick taking game.
Oh yeah, like it kind of plays like The Crew, really.
Yes, that's something I've played a lot of lately too. I love The Crew.
Yeah, such a good game.
It is.
So what compelled you to create Cutthroat Cove? Pieces of 8.
Well, like I mentioned, the two games it's loosely based around were definitely influencers. But I think part of it was almost out of a necessity for our friend group. And to put some more clarification, it's we definitely have our friends who will play Gloomhaven. We'll play the heaviest sort of board game you can find, and we'll have a great time with it. And then you have our friends who play board games only because they're with us and we're making them play board games. And so we wanted to find a good in between that was that appealed to both crowds. I think that was definitely a big driver. And I like short games. Sometimes you want to play a 3-hour game like Gloomhaven, and sometimes you just want to sit down for half an hour and just talk and have a good time and not really focus on the game that much.
You mean you focus on Gloomhaven at all times?
Oh, all the time. I've moved to the Steam version.
Okay.
So much easier.
Nice. That sounds pretty incredible, actually.
So many quality of life. It's perfect. I would highly recommend that.
Cool. It's so daunting getting all those pieces to the table.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the Steam version does all that for you. If you do tabletop, you still have to manage it. But the Steam version, it just manages it all.
Are you far into the campaign?
So we actually pretty much beat the campaign in person right before COVID started. So we did a lot in person with the board game, and then since COVID, we switched over to the Steam version, like I mentioned, in that they don't actually have the campaign in that yet.
Okay.
So
that works out. It sounds like it works out really well for y'all then.
It does, yeah. And we all got to play characters we didn't get to play in person, so it's worked out.
Cool. So back to, as much as I can talk from Haven all day long.
Yes.
Back to your game. So in creating this game, what was playtesting like?
Playtesting actually started with just my wife and I, and we just took a bunch of note cards, cut them in half, wrote down what we thought, and just played the two of us until I was happy with the concept we liked. But really, a lot of it's been on Tabletop Simulator. Okay. I think I've played with the actual cards like once or twice because we're just never all in the same place to play it. But we've gotten really good feedback. It didn't take too many iterations of actual gameplay to balance it. It was more of wordsmithing was the majority of our play testing. Make sure the cards made sense.
What was the process like to get your game on Tabletop Simulator?
It's I guess I'll take this in steps. We so Glassford Games, which is the company we founded. I'll say we because we're a team of 3. It's me who does like the business side of it. We have an arts guy, Isaac, and then we have a technology guy, Kyle. And so really, Isaac just threw together a bunch of mock-up art, some quick templates, threw in a couple text boxes, and then you just upload it to Tabletop as a PNG. And since Tabletop has all that built-in functionality, it was pretty straightforward. Just adding a deck of cards is not that difficult, and I'm really glad we did it.
That's cool. And your friend just wrote the rule, like the code? in for the game?
No, we actually don't have any code in it.
Okay.
Tabletop, you can write code if you want to automate certain aspects of it.
Mhm.
But since tabletop has the majority of that built in, like the drawing mechanic,
Okay.
the flipping cards, yeah, it's just really uploading PNGs.
That's awesome. I'm not a like a TTS player. I think I may have
Gotcha.
tried it once. I think maybe actually it was Board Game Arena, but it
Mm.
was Spirit Island. I was learning Spirit Island with someone. I was like, this really isn't for me. So this is actually super. I'm super curious as to how that works out for you guys. It sounds like it was a simple process to get it on there for people to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, in the world of COVID, it's a necessity. Like,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
either have to do it or you have to find someone who knows how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you had a lot of people play your game then?
We have. We have a friend group, and the three of us on the team are all college friends. So usually we can just hit our friends up and be like, "Hey, we got a new game we want you to try. You're free at this time." And usually, that gets a lot of people in. And since everyone already knows each other, it's a good time. Everyone meshes well instead of just a bunch of people who don't know each other. But yeah, we've done that. We've reached out to several Discord groups that are specifically for playtesting during COVID. So you basically just hop in, you say, "Hey, I have this game. Who's down to play?" And we've gotten a handful of people to play it that way too.
That's awesome
Mm-hmm.
that you're able to do that. That's so cool. What are you most proud of with your game?
I think what I'm most proud of, and I think I've briefly touched on this before, is just that balance between people who want to play a casual game and people who want a strategy game or a bluffing, more in depth type game. I think we've hit that line pretty well. Of if someone wants to take it casually and not really focus and still have a good time, you can still do that. It's simple enough that you can do that. But if
Nice.
you want to be competitive with your friends and backstab each other, take a little bit of take that, that option's there too. And that's kind of what we were aiming for, and I think we hit it very nicely.
Cool. You have actually touched on this as well, but I'm curious as to the challenges. It's been COVID, so you've placed your game up on TTS,
Mm-hmm.
but right now you're on your way to launching your game. But what have been some of the challenges that you have faced with your game, or any failures you may have faced as well with this
Mm-hmm.
game?
Okay. I would say our biggest challenge we faced, and I think this has been true. We're also in the process of working on other games, and I think this is just a challenge that our team specifically faces, and I'm sure other designers too, is when to say enough is enough, and like say, I can keep spitballing ideas of how to make the game better, new mechanics, new ways to play for months, years. We can always think about that, but when is the point that you say this game is solid as is? Obviously you still got to balance and tweak it, but just to say we're happy with the game as is and let's move forward in the design process. um, I know I'm guilty of that. As my team members will tell you, I'll be like, what if we change this, what if we change this, and they just have to ground me and say, no, we're done, no more ideas.
That's for the
um,
next game.
yes, for the next game you could pitch something, but yeah, I'm definitely the troublemaker in that department.
All right, all right. Why'd you go with pirates versus aliens or unicorns or anything in particular, anything else, if you will?
I don't know if I have a super solid answer for that.
Okay.
I think we just love the pirate theme. Like I said, I like Liar's Dice. I love the Pirates of the Caribbean series, and I'll just throw this out there. But we're working on our Kickstarter video, right? And there's a lot of pirate, accessories on the table in the background and all that. None of that was purchased for the game. That was all stuff we already owned.
Just cosplay real quick.
Exactly. Like you'll see swords in the background. We got some pirate hats going on, some skeletons. Like it's all stuff we already had. Nothing purchased for the in the budget for the marketing.
That's awesome. So when you play, is there a first player rule? Like whoever can yar the best, or who just is there a way to be
No,
first player?
there is. I'm not super proud of it, but there is. Um, So a long time ago, we came across this too, is like who decides who the first player is. And so the rule I wrote was just whoever says I'm a pirate after the box touches the table gets to go first. And it's stuck. It's never changed. And so sometimes we'll have people and they'll hold it above the table so everyone can see, it hasn't touched the table yet, not quite there, and then drop it and say it as fast as they can so they can go first.
Now, is that on the outside of the box when people buy it? Is that something that will be able to read? So if I buy this box and I know nothing about it, and I read the rule book, I'm gonna be like, oh crap. Or if I read the rule book before anyone else says or reads it, I'm gonna say, hey, I'm a pirate, and then I'm first player. Yeah.
Yep. That's usually what happens. It's not on the outside of the box, but it is in the rules. So whoever takes it upon themselves to be the rule interpreter, they usually have an unfair advantage the first time.
Yeah, I am never the rule interpreter, but I have a one-up if we ever play your game.
There you go. Yes.
Awesome.
Someone will just bring it to game night, and you'll be like, I'm a pirate, and they're going to have no idea what you mean until 10 minutes down the road.
Well, even I have like a fake red beard too. I'm just going to wear it, just complete theme out with
Perfect. That's the best way to do
it. So you have other games that you kind of touched on that you're creating. Can you speak on some of those games right now, or how did you get your ideas for this game and the other games that are coming in the future?
Sure. I can definitely touch on the other one we're working on. And it kind of explains the nature of why we called this Cutthroat Cove Pieces of 8, just because we're also working on Cutthroat Cove. And so they've kind of been going on in development together, and this one was just done first. We're still polishing the other one. Okay. But that one is definitely on the heavier side. The main concept is you're a pirate on the 7 seas, but no one knows what's in the 7 seas. So you're developing the map as you explore and move away from the center of the map. And so things you'll interact with, you might find, a merchant that you want to plunder. You might find some sea monsters that are in the sea. Like you don't know what you're going to find. You might find a port that can help you upgrade your ship. And that's kind of the premise is, that one's more a map exploration and trying to become the most notorious pirate first.
Is that okay? So is it cooperative until it isn't then, or is it all player versus player?
It's all PvP, player versus player, but it does have player versus PvE elements to it. So you can attack any other pirate you want at any time.
Cool.
But that tends to weaken both of you, so you want to find the opportune time to strike and take them out.
All right. Now, will you have a tie-in from Pieces of 8 to the game, the board? Because this is going to be a board game versus not that a card game is a board game, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Will you have something like, hey, if you have Pieces of 8, you get extra this, or if you find a card in Pieces of 8, you're able to do this type of things? Just will there be some interconnectivity there, or is this where it's like, no, the idea is done, this is for the next game?
Now that you mention it, maybe I do have to pitch a new idea. But at the moment, there is no. They are in the same universe. I use the term universe lightly. But I mean, they're both in Cutthroat Cove. But that's as far as the interconnectivity that we currently have planned for it.
Cool, man. So is there anything that really, like any media? I know you said Pirates of the Caribbean, and you have all the piratey things. Like, have you just always loved pirates?
I think so. I mean, I can't think of a moment where I was like, yes, pirates. But I think a lot of it also came from. I know you mentioned the Redbeard outfit to get you into the atmosphere. What we like to do is we'll turn on Spotify, we'll grab a pirate playlist, blast sea shanties into the background, have a bottle of rum going around, and then just play the game for hours. It's just once you get that atmosphere going on.
From the bottle, you just
well, not just from the bottle. No,
I respect that. I respect that.
No, we don't. We're not sharing bottles here, but we are. Pour it into your glass, drink your full glass.
Awesome,
But
awesome. And at the
yes,
end, someone says, "Where's all the rum gone?"
exactly.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So when do you launch? You have a date set for your game?
We don't have a date quite set, and
Okay.
a lot of that has to deal with what I've mentioned with delays in the reviews and delays in the
Yep.
in creating the video. Our plan is to launch spring of this year, so we're already in spring, so I'm hoping within the next month or so we can either launch or have a very firm date of when we will.
Cool, cool. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious as to what you're playing right now with your wife. What is on your table? What's your go-to board game right now?
Our go-to, it depends on if we have guests over or not.
Okay.
And obviously that's limited right now during COVID. We've been playing a lot of Chicken Heist. I don't know if you've played that.
I've heard of it. I haven't played it.
It's a lot of fun. It's a very similar concept of it's chaotic. You're kind of on the same team because you're all robbing a bank, but really it's whoever gets the most money at the end wins. So there's a lot of backstabbing, a lot of take that. And then it obviously has a really cute artwork of chickens.
And so you're upset, but then you're like, oh, this is kind of cute.
Yeah, it's super cute, but also kind of cutthroat, kind of backstabby. Does it quite fit the aesthetic?
Yeah, yeah. When you play a game, what color do you need to play as?
I'm usually a red guy. Sometimes I'll do a dark purple, but my wife also likes purple, so I usually go red.
What's your sign? Your astrological sign?
I have no idea.
Oh, what month were you born in?
October.
October. Okay, interesting. Because I find that not that I really delve deep into this stuff, but I know that October, I believe, is air sign. So for the most part, I hear a lot of people born in October who like to play as blue or green, just because it's a more of a mellow color. But that's awesome. And if we ever play a game together, we'll be fighting for red because I love being red at all times.
It depends. It depends. Well, it depends if I'm in the mood to fight over or not.
Okay.
Sometimes I like to be nice and just all right, I'll take something else.
All right, and if that case, if you're nice, I'll be nice too, and then no one will be red, right? It's like, no, you take it, no, you take it, no, you take it, no, you take it.
No, if we get to that, I will. I'll just take it. I'll be like, okay, enough, done.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, man. Thank you for spending some time with me this afternoon, talking about your game, Cutthroat Cove, Pieces of 8. But until I'm sure we'll be doing this again for Cutthroat Cove.
Absolutely,
We're going to be talking about it. All right, happy gaming. We'll see you soon.
See you.